Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Make It Big conference. Thanks to all of you for being here with us today. My name is Beatriz Estay, and I'm a content marketing manager here at BigCommerce. And today I'm thrilled to be joined with Justin Wang, CEO and founder of LARQ. Justin, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Beatriz. I'm really excited to be here and to have the opportunity to chat with you today.
Many of our viewers may recognize LARQ from your recent appearance on Shark Tank, where you presented the highest valuation in the show's history and came out with not one, but two shark investments. So a huge congratulations there. That is super impressive. But before we dive in, I want to take a walk down memory lane and hear more about yourself and ultimately what led to founding LARQ.
Thanks, Beatriz. Thanks for the kind words and the welcome. My entrepreneur journey really started from a young age. I'm born into an immigrant family, and kind of that entrepreneurial spirit was always with me, trying to create a better world and better life for my family and myself. So I think really at a young age, I always had that kind of desire to create something and to have a positive impact on the world. I started my career as a investor on the investment side, where I worked for the investment arm of Louis Vuitton Moët Hennessy. And through that experience, I really got to know a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in the consumer space. And it was a really wonderful experience because, seeing a lot of these entrepreneurs' stories really got me excited. And through that experience, I got the entrepreneur bug. So long story short, I left my investment world, the safe and kind of cushy job I had, and decided to take a full plunge into the entrepreneur world. And that's when we started LARQ. And LARQ was really founded, with a pretty simple idea. As I was looking around the world, I've always been into the outdoors and nature and sustainability, and as well as wellness. I thought about some of the things I really cared about, and obviously some of the environmental impact from how we consume and hydrate today. And we really thought we could combine really innovative technology that my co-founder, Dr. Doug Collins, was working on, along with beautiful product design and great marketing, in order to make an impact on how people hydrated. And we do that by using innovative technology combined with beautiful product design, and to minimize the friction that consumers have in terms of hydrating in a more sustainable way.
For sure. And I think that's a huge part with starting any business. And even while you're maintaining your business, is understanding your customers. And that really brings me to my next point. Is a unique aspect of your brand and your product is that it really revolves around an amazing brand identity. It truly, I feel like when I look at this water bottle, I know exactly the brand of LARQ. I feel everything about the company. It's very clear. And I like that was so thoughtfully designed with that consumer research in mind. So walk us through the approach that you took when actually came to creating your brand and marketing strategy.
So, LARQ started with this idea that we could combine this technology. So really we had to start with the product, and we have to start with the consumer. So we did a lot of consumer research, a lot of consumer studies in terms of what people were doing on a daily basis. And we had identified a few problems, right, with single-use plastic water bottles. There were tons of sustainable products out there today from, all the big brand names. You could walk down Target and just have rows and rows of reusable water bottles. But yet they were only making up about 5-6% of the overall market. Single-use water bottles are about a $300 billion worldwide market, and we go through about 1 million single-use water bottles every single minute, and that is a per minute statistic. So we asked the question, the problem must not be availability. The problem isn't the fact that we don't have access to reusable water bottles. It's the fact that they are falling a little bit short in terms of providing what the consumers are looking for. And when we dug into that consumer, and when we realized a few things really stood out. One is they want to make it easy. They want hydration and filtration and purification on the go. That means having access to that water on the go that you trust. So we built that into our system from day one. So with a simple press of a button in just 60 seconds, the LARQ bottle purifies the water that you put into the water bottle. And then number two, people love their water bottles actually, but they often didn't like how often they had to maintain the water bottle. So, normal water bottles you have to wash every day or every other day at a minimum. And we wanted to minimize that, right? So if imagine leaving your water bottle in the hot car, in your gym bag, or at the office over the weekend, you want to be able to come back to it. And when you think about running out the door or, going to a meeting, be able to grab and go. So we built in to this water bottle a self-cleaning feature that turns on automatically in the background every 2 hours to help maintain that water bottle. So the point is, we took a very kind of consumer friction and consumer pain point approach and really understood our customers before we even put pen to paper to design the product. So I would say that's step number one, is to understand your customer. And if you get the product right, then, other things come easier after that.
Yeah. And you mentioned there a little bit about the sustainability piece, which is so important. I think it's a huge draw to your brand mission, right? Is that people feel connected. I think sustainability is a huge topic worldwide right now. Tell us more about your partnership with 1% for the Planet and how you've continued to bring sustainability to the forefront of your business.
Yeah, from day one, we wanted to make sure not only were, did the LARQ bottle and other products make a difference in the way we consume, right? That's the starting point. We also did want to make sure that on top of that, from the profit, from the revenues we were generating, we were also giving back to other causes we cared about. So we've pledged 1% of our revenues in the first year from the get-go to 1% for the planet. We work with a number of charity partners like Wallware, like Charity Water, and many others to give back, whether that's a cause to access to clean drinking water or sustainability. So we work with a number of organizations throughout the year to do that. And, that's always kind of front and center for us, beyond just a product as well.
So I want to dive a little bit deeper into sustainability because LARQ is a company that embraces it so well through all of its brand marketing to the product. So what advice do you have for business owners looking to embrace sustainability and leverage it for their marketing and storytelling?
I think first and foremost, embrace it authentically and truly first within your company. And I think sustainability can mean different things to different people. We're obviously offering a product that enables people to be more sustainable, and we also give back to our charity partners, and we really live it to the core. Every company could have a different spin on that, but I would recommend, because consumers are so well educated and so smart today, the most important thing I think is being authentic. A lot of companies, I think today, greenwash their brand or greenwash their product or their website. So I think really it's good to take time to understand what that means for you. Maybe it's around your packaging, maybe it's around your infrastructure and your shipping time, or offsetting carbon footprint with a carbon credit, or just maybe it's part of your team building exercise or something like that. But I think whatever it is, tell that story, but tell it authentically, and that would come across to consumers. I think it's becoming increasingly important, but I think people should avoid trying to greenwash everything.
For sure. And of course, we can't talk about the entrepreneurial success of LARQ without talking about investment and scaling, which is, your background. And like I mentioned at the beginning, where probably a lot of people may also have heard of LARQ through Shark Tank. So, LARQ outside of Shark Tank has achieved multiple very successful rounds of funding. What's the secret to pitching to investors and ultimately scaling your business in tandem with an investment strategy?
Yeah. So obviously, investments and capital is the lifeblood of any startup, especially if you're in a hard consumer space, where in hardware or something physical. And from day one, we knew that we had to bring on, capital and investors that had a similar vision to us in order to help us scale and help us to make an impact in the space that we're trying to change. And every round is a little bit different. From the seed round, you're really selling a vision of the company, a vision of what you believe to be the future. You're maybe selling your technology and really getting that message across. And I think as a co-founder or CEO, that's one of your primary jobs early on, is to make sure your business is well funded. As you move on to Series A or Series B, which kind of is the stage where we're at, obviously more and more of the focus will become on your metrics, on your performance. And we love the fact that BigCommerce allows us to track some of those numbers very easily. And we're able to scale that business, but it doesn't change the fact that your vision has to be there in terms of, your mission as a company, but also as a brand. We really find that, and a lot of the audience will know this, that the journey of entrepreneurship isn't a linear path from here to there. It's often a up and down path, right? It's rocky. Sometimes when you're in a trough, you can't see over the next horizon. And I think it's very, very important, not only with investors, but with your team, to always think about, the longer term mission of the company and the longer term objective. Because it's so easy to lose sight of that sometimes, and so easy to, when you're doing really well, 1 month, or doing really bad 1 month, to really be like, okay, this is the permanent path. We're headed that way, or we're headed that way. But really, that path is really up and down. And it's your job, both for the team, but also for your investors and everything, to make sure that people have the end goal in mind.
I think that's so true what you were just saying too about keeping your vision for the company, which is a perfect segue to what I wanted to get into, which is focusing on your selling strategy. As a new brand, you made the choice to begin direct to consumer using your BigCommerce storefront. Let's start there. How did you come to the decision to begin direct to consumer?
I think direct to consumer is the easy one. We've always been, as a brand, very consumer focused, right? From designing the product, designing the features, we're always consumer focused. It's so important to us to have an intimate relationship with that customer, and not only in the sales pipeline from prospecting down to the conversion, but also, post purchase, right? That feedback loop has to be instantaneous, has to be as we are always continuing to not only improve our products, but our services and everything else. So direct to consumer was just a no-brainer because, unlike established brands and everything else, I think that is an advantage of startups, is that we can be closer to that consumer, hear what they have to say, iterate faster, not only on the product side, but also on that user journey on .com or your newsletters, or however you're, reaching your customers.
So you mentioned with the direct to consumer model that you got to actually learn a lot about your customers, right? It's a great way to launch. You can explore a lot of different digital channels across marketing and commerce. Is there anything that you learned from your customers that surprised you when you initially launched doing the direct to consumer model?
There are a lot of different ways to learn about your customer in that journey, and different tools that could be used, especially in the direct to consumer channel, right? You have a very quick review cycle. You're able to get feedback from your customer after 2-3 weeks of shipping your product. You can understand how they feel about it, how they interact with it. But on top of that, you also have a great ability to see, on site, what are they resonating with? You could do A/B testing to see which color resonates better with people, what they are checking out. In a traditional retail model, you might sell thousands of units into a Macy's or a Safeway, but you have no idea how the consumer's engaging with it. It's up to the buyer to tell you, what. If you get a report, you're lucky to get that a quarter or two later. But in a direct to consumer sense, you know the color, you know the size they want. It impacts your operations. You're able to plan better. But also you can know, okay, this message resonated better in our A/B testing, and this other message didn't do so well. And you could iterate really quickly on your storefront on BigCommerce and change that messaging or change the product that you're presenting. So that cycle becomes so quick, and you could do it with a small team. If you're scrappy, and you could really dig into, there's just a treasure trove of information that you're able to gather. And for us, very early on, we could use that information and do planning in a more efficient way. We knew that, black and blue, Monaco blue was our best-selling color, so we could plan more for that. We knew the ratio of the different sizes for the bottles. And then, as we grew, we were able to survey that customer directly on site right before the purchase to understand exactly why they're purchasing, what is the message that resonated with them, as well as post-purchase to understand, okay, not only do you love the LARQ bottle, but what else would you like to see from our brand? So really, we do all of our product research and our consumer insight, starting and ending on our direct-to-consumer channel.
So you mentioned retail there for a moment as a channel you're selling through, and now LARQ is available through so many different channels. So where are you selling now, and what factors went into your decision to sell beyond your e-commerce storefront?
Yeah, I think e-commerce is becoming increasingly important. Direct-to-consumer is becoming increasingly important, even before the pandemic and certainly after. But I do believe the world is still a omni-channel world. There is room for experience, service, kind of question and answer, and also touch and feel of the product. There's something that is, although e-commerce is improving, that's hard to replace. So I think as a business scales, it is important to add mix to your channel strategy to help you grow, but you also reach a different set of customers through that process as well. So for us, it's very much, LARQ is a product that it has a premium price point, it has a premium feature set, but it is something that a lot of customers want to touch and feel and hold in their hands before they make a purchase. So we really leverage our retail partners, and we're available now at Bloomingdale's and Nordstrom's and MoMA, as well as Best Buy, in order to provide that experience for the customer that is still missing in e-commerce today. But what we find is that oftentimes consumers are still getting a lot of the education on .com or coming back to .com after they see it online, in stores, and then making a purchase, right? So we really see that funnel as like an omni-channel funnel where our digital strategy and our on-site strategy really influences and also propels our offline strategy as well.
So you talk about how important it is to have a brand experience that really transcends through offline back to online and vice versa, right? You have a bunch of people who come to your website, they maybe want to actually see the product in person. It all goes back. UX is so important, and it's something that we talk a lot about here at BigCommerce, how important the design and the product information on your website. So how do you prioritize the online experience, and how do you really create a brand presence that's going to transcend in a hybrid environment?
Yeah, I think you really want to make that brand jump off the page and it feels like it's in that room with you, right? And so I totally agree. The content, the photography, the user experience are all really critical part of that. And I think today in this attention economy that we have, people, I think, make a judgment about your brand, about your page in a few seconds, right? So you want to have the right content, have the right user experience, have the right site speed for those to come together really, really quickly for that user. So investing in photography, and there, especially these days, there are increasingly ways to invest in that's cheaper and easier. But I do think you want to make sure that the product is at the focus, and the messaging is very, very tight, and the UX, which BigCommerce does a great job of, is built to kind of educate as well as to convert.
We spent a lot of time just now talking about your online selling experience and all of the channels that you're in. What about offline? Are we going to see a LARQ pop-up anytime soon? Any expansion into a LARQ store, perhaps?
That's something we're always thinking about. We don't have any plans for that short term, but we leverage a lot of the placement we have with our retail partners, or we have done some pop-up with other partners, but in terms of a LARQ branded store, I think we're still a little bit some ways away from that, but never say never.
Never say never. I always love that expression. And you did also recently launch your first ever LARQ pitcher, which is a new product. It's amazing. I also need to try it. It's on my checkout, so I need to go do that. But talk to us a little bit about the new product and maybe what's next on the product roadmap for LARQ.
Yeah, no, LARQ was always meant to be a 360 hydration brand. We launched our first product, the LARQ Bottle, about 2.5 years ago. We've been developing our in-home product that really improves the filtration and purification process of countertop pitchers. So that's launching actually next month. We're shipping our first products next month, and that's Been a lot of R&D and research and development hard work from all the LARQ team. We're really excited for the product. It has a 2-stage filtration and purification process. In the first stage, we take out things like heavy metals, VOCs, chlorine, improve the taste of the water in a proprietary kind of filter technology. And in a very neat second stage, we also eliminate the harmful bacteria and viruses, mold that tends to harbor in a damp, wet environment like a filter housing. So we get rid of that as well. It's also a smart pitcher, so it can measure your hydration intake as well as exactly how much filter life you have left. So it's great for someone that wants a little more data as well as a little more control over their hydration and the quality of that hydration. So we just launched our pre-sales on .com, and we've done very well with that product so far. And we're excited to bring that technology not only for a bottle format but also into the home in an at-home format, especially in this environment where people are spending more time at home and investing more and more now into making that home environment more beautiful but also healthier on a daily basis.
Awesome. Well, you've offered so many amazing pieces of advice today, Justin. If our audience were to leave with 1 or 2 key takeaways from your story, what would they be?
I know a lot of your audience members are entrepreneurs or people who are focused on building the next big thing, and that's so amazing. And we're certainly in that process ourselves. I would say a couple of things. One is, never hesitate to ask for help. I think every successful entrepreneur story, every success that we've had, oftentimes there are other people behind it. Oftentimes there are people that have lent us a hand along the way. But you have to be a sponge for help. You have to be a sponge to seek for that help. And really, you have to be a little bit thick-skinned even. And you'd be surprised. I think people that have gone through that journey, myself included, I'm always happy to help and reach out. And so I would say that is first and foremost, I think, a very important trait for an entrepreneur.
Fantastic. And for our listeners who might want to connect with you after this, where can they find you?
Yeah, definitely. You could find LARQ at any time at LiveLARQ.com. That's LARQ on Instagram or Twitter. And drop us a note anytime at hello@livelarq.com.
Awesome. Well, it was absolutely wonderful chatting with you today, Justin. Thank you for joining us. And for those tuning in, be sure to check out more Make It Big sessions and share what you've learned on social by tagging us at BigCommerce.
Thank you, Beatriz.